He walks into the room and everything shifts. She senses something, an energy she can't explain. He's not loud, he's not trying, but there's something about him she can't decode. That mystery draws her in like a magnet. The way he looks at the world, as if he's 10 steps ahead. The way he listens, without reacting. The way he smiles, not to please, but because he knows something she doesn't. This man, he's unreadable, and that makes him irresistible. Because women don't fall for predictable men. Predictable is safe. Predictable is boring. Predictable is easy to walk away from. But when she doesn't know where she stands with you, when she's unsure, curious, maybe even a little nervous, that's when her emotions activate. That's when her brain starts spinning stories. That's when you live in her head rent-free. See, being unreadable isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being composed, controlled, deep. You move with purpose. You reveal only what you want to reveal. You don't give her your entire soul on the first date. You don't text back in 5 seconds just because she did. You don't rush to explain yourself when she doesn't understand you. You let silence speak for you. You let her wonder. You let her chase. There's a reason the mysterious man is always the lead in her favorite novel. He's the puzzle she wants to solve. And every time she thinks she's figured him out, he surprises her. Not with gimmicks, not with games, but with depth, with layers, with realness she's never met before. And that is what makes him unforgettable. When you're unpredictable, not in your values, but in your behavior, she never settles into a rhythm. One moment you're teasing, the next you're contemplative. One day you're fully present, the next you're pursuing your own solitude. She can't box you in. And because she can't, she watches closer. She listens deeper. She pays attention to every word you say, trying to decipher what's beneath the surface. But here's the secret. There's no surface. You live in your own depth. You don't perform for her. You don't try to impress her with status or lines or tactics. You impress her by not needing to. You impress her by being so self-contained, so internally rich, that her presence doesn't sway your center. That's what creates the pull. That's why she keeps checking her phone. That's why her friends hear your name. Predictability dies when your validation doesn't come from her reactions. You don't ask for her attention. You command it without saying a word. Your silence has gravity. Your presence has temperature. When you enter a room, you don't chase the spotlight, but the spotlight finds you anyway. And when you speak, it's deliberate, intentional. There's no filler in your sentences, no explaining, no oversharing. You let her lean in, and the more she leans in, the more she opens. Because mystery isn't a wall, it's a mirror. She sees parts of herself she never accessed. She feels emotions she didn't know were there. And in you, she sees a challenge, not a game, but a man whose soul isn't up for immediate consumption. That's the man she remembers. That's the man she tells her friends about. A man she can't read is not a man playing hard to get. He's a man who's simply hard to grasp, because he's not broadcasting everything. His inner world isn't a performance for the world to see. He doesn't overexpress. He doesn't explain his every move. He simply moves, deliberately, purposefully, as if he's answering to something higher than approval. When she looks into his eyes, she doesn't find desperation. She finds calm, presence, space. She sees a man who's not afraid of silence, who's not scrambling to fill every pause with noise. And in those silences, she feels something stir, curiosity, maybe even attraction. Because silence from a man with depth isn't empty. It's charged. She tries to test him. Maybe she pulls back to see if he'll chase. Maybe she teases to see if he'll bite. But he doesn't flinch. He doesn't fall into the dance of reactivity. He remains grounded, like a mountain. And that's what gets to her. Not that he doesn't want her, but that he doesn't need her approval to validate his desire. His unpredictability doesn't come from chaos. It comes from layers. One day he brings laughter, the next, deep conversation. One moment he's soft, the next, stoic. She can't guess what's next. And that unpredictability keeps her feminine energy alive. It awakens her polarity. It sharpens the tension. And suddenly, she's no longer in control. She's in the current. If this is the kind of presence you want to embody, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. We go deeper every week. When she can't read you, she starts reading into you. She starts wondering what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what your next move is. And in that wondering, she invests. Not just time or attention, but emotion. And once a woman is emotionally invested, she's already chasing, even if she doesn't realize it. That's the paradox. Men think that being mysterious means acting distant or aloof. But real mystery isn't about avoidance. It's about being deeply present without being overly available. It's about having your own rhythm, your own axis of focus, and letting her orbit you, not because you push her away, but because you pull her in through gravity, not need. You don't need to perform stoicism. You live it. You don't need to script your words. Your silence already speaks volumes. And that quiet confidence, that's what makes you unreadable. Because when a man is fully centered, he becomes unpredictable. Not because he's inconsistent, but because he's real. He's responsive to the moment. He doesn't follow formulas. He follows flow. That's why she can't pin you down. That's why she keeps coming back. Predictability is the death of desire. The moment she knows exactly what you'll say, exactly what you'll do, and exactly how you'll react, you stop being a mystery. You become a script, a routine, a solved equation, and no one chases what they've already solved. But when she sees that you're not chasing her validation, when she feels that your energy doesn't rise or fall based on her mood, when she realizes that you're not trying to impress her, but to express yourself fully, that's when something shifts inside her. She starts questioning her own power over you. She starts paying closer attention, watching your moves, replaying your words. Because now, you're not acting out a pattern she's seen before. You've become something rare, something she can't categorize, something real. This isn't about playing games. This is about being the game. When your life is full, with purpose, passion, presence, you don't need to be predictable to feel secure. You create your own security, and that security is what makes you dangerous. Most men are like open books, easy to flip through, easy to skim. Their intentions are written in bold letters across their faces, and when they want something, especially her, they telegraph it with every word, every glance, every gesture. But the man she can't read? He's not closed off. He's composed. He's not cold. He's centered. He's not distant. He's disciplined. She doesn't know if he's into her, not because he's pretending, but because he's not performing. He doesn't rush to fill the silence. He doesn't try to control the conversation. He doesn't need her attention to validate his worth. And that makes her wonder, what's he thinking? What's he feeling? What does he want? That uncertainty, that ambiguity, that space where she doesn't have all the answers. That's where attraction blooms. Because it's in the unknown that desire wakes up. She finds herself leaning in, physically, emotionally, trying to decode the mystery. She replays conversations in her head, analyzing pauses, tones, expressions, not because he was confusing, but because he was present and precise. He doesn't overshare to seek closeness. He doesn't confess feelings hoping she'll feel the same. He lets her feel what she feels at her own pace. And when she does express interest, he doesn't crumble into eagerness. He receives it calmly, like a man who already knew it would happen eventually, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. She's used to men who chase, men who try, men who prove. But this one, he invites, he allows. He holds his position like a mountain holds stillness. And in that stillness, she feels something rare, safety, without predictability, warmth, without neediness, strength, without pressure. She begins to adjust her rhythm to his, not because he demands it, but because it feels natural to follow his lead. He doesn't rush moments, doesn't break silences, doesn't perform. Every move is intentional, every response measured, every word anchored in presence. She feels seen, but not studied, desired, but not possessed, challenged, but not controlled. And it's disorienting, because unpredictability in a man with no center feels unsafe. But unpredictability in a man who is grounded feels exhilarating. She never knows what he'll say next, but she knows he won't betray himself just to impress her. And that unpredictability, it doesn't feel like a game. It feels like truth in motion, like being with someone alive, fully, someone who lives from instinct, not image, from clarity, not calculation, someone who makes her forget the roles and remember the real. He doesn't offer reassurance with words. He offers it with energy, with calm eyes that don't flinch when she tests him, with a steady breath that doesn't quicken when tension rises. When she withdraws, he doesn't chase. When she challenges, he doesn't argue. When she doubts, he doesn't explain. Because he knows her pullback is not always a protest. Sometimes it's a probe, to feel if he's still rooted, to see if she can move him. And when he isn't moved by her moods, when he holds his own frequency like a mountain, something deep inside her softens. Because a man who doesn't rush to fix her emotions is a man who doesn't need her emotions to validate himself. She doesn't need to guess where she stands. His presence says it all, not through certainty, but through sovereignty. She tells herself she doesn't like mystery. She says she wants honesty, transparency, communication. But here's the twist. She doesn't want to know everything. She wants to feel something. And when a man keeps a small part of himself unspoken, when he doesn't spill every thought, every emotion, every plan, she leans in, not because he's hiding, but because he's whole. His mystery doesn't come from playing games. It comes from depth, from a life rich with meaning that doesn't beg for attention. He doesn't post his victories for approval. He doesn't announce his purpose. He just lives it. And that silence, that self-contained energy, it draws her in faster than any confession ever could. Because women don't chase clarity, they chase feeling, and nothing feels more magnetic than a man she can't quite figure out. You see, unpredictability isn't chaos. It's not flakiness or inconsistency. It's rhythm. It's the ability to dance with life in a way that she can't quite predict, but can't look away from. A man who is unreadable isn't distant. He's deeply present, just not performative. He listens without needing to correct. He observes without needing to control. He acts without announcing. And when he moves, it's deliberate. When he speaks, it's earned. He doesn't flood her with attention. He creates space for desire. Because desire needs air. It needs room to grow. He lets her miss him, not to manipulate, but to remind her that his presence isn't a guarantee. It's a gift. When a woman can't read you, it doesn't mean she feels lost. It means she feels alive. Her nervous system lights up. Her imagination takes the lead. She wonders what you're thinking. She replays your last look. She checks your tone for meaning. And yet, she doesn't feel unsafe, because unpredictability, when paired with presence, is intoxicating. It's not about keeping her guessing, it's about letting her feel like she's discovering you piece by piece. You don't reveal your entire story in one sitting. You offer glimpses, hints, depth. That's what makes her want to keep turning the page. See, predictable men are like open books, easy to understand, safe, but boring. She may admire them, respect them, even love them. But desire is born in the unknown, when you're not always available, when you don't always explain yourself, when your emotions aren't always on display. She feels challenged, not disrespected, not confused, but intrigued. And that intrigue is magnetic. It pulls her in. It keeps her watching. And it makes her crave your next move. Now here's the paradox. The less you reveal, the more she imagines. And her imagination? It paints pictures more vivid than anything you could say. That's why silence, strategic silence, can be more powerful than 1,000 words. Not every question needs an answer. Not every feeling needs a label. Let her wonder. Let her ask herself, is he thinking about me? Is he falling for me? Or is he already gone? That tension, that mystery, it's intoxicating. Because you're no longer just a man. You're a puzzle, a story she wants to solve. When you show restraint, she sees depth. When you don't over-explain, she feels challenged. And when you walk away first, even when she wanted to, you're unforgettable. Most men collapse under the weight of emotion. They text too soon. They say too much. They chase too hard. But you wait. You breathe. You observe. You let the moment ripen. You let her feel the space. And it's in that space where desire grows. She wonders what you're thinking. She replays your words. She overanalyzes your silence. Because it's not what you said. It's what you didn't. Not where you went, but where you paused. Your unpredictability isn't chaos. It's crafted. It's calm. It's magnetic. She starts to lean in, hoping for a clue, but you offer none. You've mastered the art of being unknown, and the mystery is intoxicating. She begins to crave the next moment, not because you promised it, but because you didn't. In your quiet, she feels loud. In your stillness, she stirs. You don't chase validation. You own your presence, and it forces her to step into hers. This imbalance, where she reaches more than you, that's where the chemistry brews. You don't push, you don't pull, you stay, and let her energy calibrate to yours. When she tries to decode you, you don't give her the satisfaction. You don't overshare, you don't perform, you don't entertain. You simply are. And in that presence, she either aligns or walks away. Either way, you don't flinch. Because mystery is not what you create. It's what you reveal slowly to those who've earned it. You're not cold. You're clear. You're not distant. You're deliberate. She tells her friends you're hard to read. What she means is you don't give her emotional shortcuts. No instant validation. No predictable praise. No desperate clarifications. You communicate through presence, not persuasion. Your calm unsettles her ego. Your poise triggers her patterns. Your silence invites her reflection. And when she leans in, not because she has to, but because she chooses to, that's where the dance begins. She may try to define you, label you, corner you into clarity, but you remain uncontained. A man in motion, rooted in depth, not definitions. You let her feel your warmth, but never owe her your fire. You gift your attention, but never sell your soul. You are not mysterious for attention. You are mysterious because your truth is layered, earned, and evolving. And in that space, where she can't quite predict you, but always feels your power, you become unforgettable.